Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American psychological thriller horror film from 2025, titled Drop. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The movie opens with Violet Gates being violently attacked by her abusive husband, Blake. She crawls downstairs, bloodied and beaten, and Blake gives her a gun, daring her to shoot him. She screams as she puts her finger on the trigger. Years later, after Blake's death, Violet is living in Chicago with her 5-year-old son, Toby. As a result of her own experience, she now works helping other abuse victims. After finishing a session with a client, a meter reader shows up at her house. Violet has been chatting on a dating app with Henry Campbell, a photographer for the mayor's office, and they plan to meet for their first date. That evening, Violet's younger sister, Jen, arrives to babysit Toby and is disappointed when she sees Violet's outfit. Jen helps Violet pick a nicer one and reassures her that Henry is nothing like Blake, encouraging her to enjoy the night. Before leaving, Violet shows Jen a security camera installed in the house that she can monitor through her phone while she's away. Violet takes a taxi to the restaurant known as Palette, located on a high floor, and inside, the receptionist takes her coat. Henry texts to say he'll be late, so Violet heads to the bar for a drink, and on the way, she accidentally bumps into a man named Connor. At the bar, she orders wine from a friendly bartender named Kara, and a man named Richard approaches, mistaking Violet for his blind date, Diane. They have a brief conversation, and when Diane arrives, she seems disappointed, something Violet notices. Violet is also hit on by Phil, the restaurant's piano player, but Kara tells him that Violet is waiting for someone. Meanwhile, Violet starts receiving strange memes from an unknown user on an app called DG Drop, and when she turns around, she notices people around her glued to their phones. Eventually, Henry arrives and the two go to their table, which is by the window. He gives her a hockey puck as a gift for Toby, which Violet finds thoughtful. Their date begins smoothly, and they're served by Matt, a new waiter on his first shift and an aspiring comedic actor. Matt tries too hard to impress by showing off his improv skills, which makes Violet and Henry uncomfortable, and he eventually leaves to get their drinks. Meanwhile, Violet continues getting strange drops on her phone, demanding she respond. She shows them to Henry, who thinks someone in the restaurant is playing a prank. He tries to help by using an app on his phone to track the sender, walking around the restaurant, but finds nothing. Then the drops become more personal, using Violet's name. She tries to ignore them, but everything changes when she checks her home security cameras and sees a masked man inside her house, holding a loaded gun. The dropper sends a message revealing that Violet's phone has been cloned, meaning he can see everything she does. He warns that if she tries to call 911 or alert Henry or anyone else, the masked man will kill her son, Toby. Violet heads to the bathroom and tries to ask a group of prom girls for help, but the dropper hears everything. She then realizes that both the bathroom and the lamp at her table are bugged. Back at the table, Henry notices how tense Violet seems and asks if she's okay. Violet brushes it off, saying she's just anxious about being away from her son for too long. She also admits she has a fear of heights, prompting Henry to ask Matt to move them away from the window. Matt complies and switches their table, but the dropper quickly threatens Toby again, warning Violet to stay where she is. She then realizes she is being watched through the restaurant's security cameras. Things get more unsettling when the hostess casually mentions that Henry had specifically requested the window table when he made the reservation, something Henry firmly denies. The dropper then gives Violet a new instruction: to steal the SD card from Henry's camera.
Would you shut it?
She pretends she lost her watch, giving Henry a reason to leave the table. While he is gone, she opens his bag, finds the camera, and takes the SD card. On it are incriminating photos of the mayor, and she pockets the card just before Henry returns. Later, Violet goes back to the bathroom, and the dropper tells her to destroy the SD card, then instructs her to check the paper towel dispenser. Inside, she finds a small vial of poison, and the dropper orders her to put it in Henry's drink and kill him. Horrified, Violet refuses, but the dropper coldly reminds her that she has already killed someone before. When Violet leaves the bathroom, the hostess confronts her, asking if she found her watch. Violet notices the hostess hiding her phone and grows suspicious. She follows her to the reception desk and asks if anyone else had requested the table she and Henry are sitting at, but the hostess insists the table was meant for them. As the hostess steps away to help other guests, Violet tries to secretly call 911 from the desk but fails. She also attempts to contact a domestic violence support site online, but the dropper threatens her again. Becoming more desperate, Violet starts scanning the restaurant, trying to figure out who the dropper could be. She runs into Connor again and questions him, suspecting he might be behind everything. He assures her he is just here to meet his sister, and Violet also sees Diane angrily storm out of her date with Richard, who stays behind to finish his meal alone. Due to Violet's growing unease and constant distractions, Henry decides it's best to leave. But the dropper insists she must keep him there, and to stop him from leaving, Violet kisses Henry to convince him to stay. While Matt is taking Violet and Henry's orders, Violet notices Phil playing Baby Shark on the piano after she jokingly suggested it. She writes two hostages situation on a $20 bill for Matt to pass to Phil as a tip. Phil sees the message and goes to the bar, but after returning, he starts to faint. His drink had been spiked. Henry and the others help him up, but he barely makes it to the lobby before he dies. During their meal, Violet is shocked when the $20 bill reappears on her plate. As punishment for involving someone else, Violet sees the masked intruder assault Jen and lock Toby in his bedroom via her home security system. Overwhelmed by the situation, Violet suggests they do shots and goes to the bar to order tequila. Kara senses something is not right with Violet but tries to remain calm, and Violet takes the drinks back to their table. When Violet returns, Henry reveals he saw her watch fall out of her purse. Violet apologizes for lying and tries to make up an excuse. Henry notices how distracted she is and offers to help, but Violet doesn't tell him what is going on. Violet asks Henry why he messaged her, knowing she is a widowed single mother. Henry shares what he likes about her, and they both talk about their past abusive relationships. Violet says her ex-husband almost killed their son in front of her, and she still feels guilty for not doing anything then. Henry opens up about trusting someone who betrayed him and about his own abusive relationship. He explains he came on the date to clear his mind from the past and to find hope, just like Violet. Henry goes to the bar to get limes, giving Violet a chance to slip the poison into his shot glass. But Henry gets suspicious when Kara says Violet didn't ask for limes earlier. When Henry returns and is about to drink, Violet spills wine on his shirt to stop him. As Henry gets up, the dropper texts Violet that spilling was a bad move. Violet then sees Connor again and suspects he's the dropper, but his sister arrives for Rayal. Kara approaches Violet and asks if she wants help getting away from Henry. Violet says Henry isn't the problem but asks about Connor's sister. Kara explains she comes in often but usually sits at a different table, the one where Richard has been all night. Kara adds she understands why Diane left because Richard was staring at Violet the whole time. Violet takes the tequila shots to Richard's table to confront him, and Richard admits he is the one texting Violet. He explains Henry is an FBI informant investigating the mayor's crimes. As the mayor's fixer, Richard planned the whole night to frame Violet for Henry's murder. He also killed Phil to stop him from alerting the police about Violet. Richard says Violet was set up to look like a widowed killer who snapped, since security cameras would show her poisoning Henry's drink. A flashback shows Violet didn't kill Blake. He took the gun back and almost shot Toby, but then killed himself when he heard police sirens. When Henry returns, Violet is forced to give him the tequila shot, which he drinks. As Henry walks away, Richard thinks Henry will die soon and starts eating his dessert. However, Violet reveals she never poisoned Henry's drink. She actually put the poison in Richard's dessert while he was watching Henry drink. Richard pulls out a gun and shoots at Violet, but Henry jumps in front of her and takes the bullet, and chaos breaks out in the restaurant. Kara tries to protect Violet but gets stabbed. As Richard orders the masked man to kill Jen and Toby, Violet grabs the hockey puck Henry gave her and throws it at the window behind Richard. The glass shatters, and the sudden pressure drop sucks Richard out to his death. Violet almost gets pulled out too, but Henry grabs her just in time. Kara survives the stab wound, and they call for medics and police. Before being taken for treatment, Henry gives Violet his car keys so she can rush home. Violet dives through traffic to get home, while Jen regains consciousness and goes to help Toby. The masked man attacks them, but Jen stabs him in the leg and tries to hide with Toby. The man breaks through and shoots Violet in the arm while Toby evades capture. Violet makes it home and grabs a knife just as the masked man begins to shoot at her. She sneaks up behind him and stabs him with the knife, but he overpowers and corners her. Before he can finish her off, Toby uses his toy car to deliver the man's gun to Violet. She grabs the gun and shoots him dead, and reunite with Toby and the injured Jen. Richard's murder plot is exposed, which leads to the arrest of the mayor and many of his associates. Violet visits Henry in the hospital while he recovers and brings him food. She then gets more drops on her phone, but it turns out to be Jen down the hall, pranking her. Violet asks Henry if he will consider a boring second date, and he says he would love nothing more. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Drop from 2025. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.